And our word for today on this Friday of the fourth week in Ordinary Time, this Friday, February the 7th, our words for today, brotherly love. This is one of those instances where I wish we had more time because there's a lot to delve into, and I'd like to cover as much as possible. So here we go. St. Paul's letter to the Hebrews, chapter 13. Let brotherly love continue. Don't neglect hospitality, for through it some have unknowingly entertained angels. Be mindful of prisoners as if sharing their imprisonment, and of the ill treated as of yourselves, for you are also in the body. And here is the part we're going to concentrate on today. Let marriage be honored among all, and the marriage bed be kept undefiled, for God will judge the immoral and the adulterers. The reason that that's important is because we see it further kind of played out in our gospel today. In the Gospel of Mark, chapter 6, we see the story of King Herod. He hears about Jesus, and people are saying, well, they think it's Elijah, they think it's another of the prophets. He says, no, no, it's John the Baptist whom I beheaded. He is afraid of this because he had John the Baptist put to death at the request of Herodias' daughter, who had danced for his gathering. Dance, brothers and sisters. This is not, this is a polite way of saying far more than dancing, because after she was done with her entertainment of his guest, of he and his guests, by the way, he said he would give her everything, including up to half of his kingdom. Come on. I think we can all get a pretty good idea of what Herodias' daughter was doing. Now, why was John the Baptist put to death? Because Herod married his brother's wife, Philip. So Herodias was the wife of Philip, and yet she married Herod. Now, here's the thing. That wouldn't be an issue for John the Baptist unless uh, King Herod had proclaimed to be a Jew, which he did. He confessed, professed to be a Jew, to be a follower of the Jewish faith. His father had converted and he had followed that line. And so when it was convenient, when it was good for him, he professed to be a Jew. But he didn't live a life that was equal to his profession, to his confession. He confessed one thing, he lived out another. His actions did not equal his confession. His profession of faith was not backed up by the way that he lived his life. This was concerning for John the Baptist because he knew that if King Herod professed one thing and yet lived another way, and everyone in the public knew it, that would be what we call a scandal in the faith. Someone who professes a thing and then lives a life that's completely contrary to it, particularly a person in an area of responsibility that others might listen to and whose actions someone else might follow. We see it even in our own day as people claim to be doing a thing because of their own explanation of Augustine and of church teaching and all of those things. We've got to be careful with this thing. The church speaks with clarity and with one voice. And so John the Baptist is speaking forward this truth and it gets him killed. And so what Paul is pointing out that we are to serve one another with brotherly love. He's pointing out those things that are not accustomed, not attached to brotherly love. And one of them he speaks about very clearly is let marriage be honored among all and the marriage bed kept undefiled, for God will judge the immoral and adulterers. Brothers and sisters, we have a hero in our midst, someone who stood up for the sanctity of marriage between one man and one woman and laid down his life for it even before Jesus laid down his. John the Baptist was showing that brotherly love to King Herod. Let us speak forward truth. Let us do it with compassion and mercy, but always the truth in love. Brotherly love are words for today.